Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day, great night. My name is Brianna and we have little Caspian here who I hope stays asleep during this video, but I guess we will just see, because if not, it'll be because he wants to eat, which is a great leeway, I guess, for this video if it needs to happen, but you know. So before we get into this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and push the bell notification. So today, if you saw the title, I'm talking about my breastfeeding journey. Caspian will be a month tomorrow, or 4 weeks, and it has already been a journey. And hopefully this is going to help other people out, kind of everything. Because I'll get into it a little bit later, but he was bottle fed and then we switched to breastfeeding, and that's a whole story. We'll get into that. So starting out, he was born, and right away we got a good feeding in. So we thought it started out, everything was really good. Was super excited for that. Everything seemed awesome, and for the next like 2 days everything was fine with feeding him. Thought everything was good, and about day 3 it started going downhill. He just was not latching or trying to eat, but he was very fussy, and he was just like bawling. Every single time I tried to bring him to nurse, he would start screaming like he was in pain. And as I talked about in my birth story, he was born and his head was a little bigger, and I think just with like how he came out and how it was first coming out with his ear, that he probably was really sensitive and his neck was really tight, because he also was leaning more towards like he would turn his head more on one side, and just seemed to be in pain whenever I was trying to feed him. And I just kind of kept trying. I also think there might have been stuff where I was just kind of really overwhelmed after birth, and just with the whole, like, you know, I hadn't really slept and everything, and so I think I was a little bit stressed about the whole situation. But by day 3, when he just really was, I think like we'd had a little bit of problems, it wasn't totally like clear the first 2 days, but he was eating. And then by day 3 he wasn't, and he was like screaming. We were having some problems with that, and I was starting to get really stressed of my newborn baby. Is he eating? Is he getting enough like liquid? And just really having a hard time. And I've always really wanted to nurse. That's just something I've been super excited about. I know not every single mom is that way, but that's something that I've always had the desire, and I really wanted to do. And so I was really struggling with, well, what do I do? I had bought pumps and bottles kind of more as like a backup for emergencies. I also had planned on being able to pump extra so that I could freeze it and then freeze dry it as like a formula for later. I had stuff on hand, but I definitely had not used any of that at that point. So day 3, really struggling to get anything down him, and I finally was at wit's end, and I just called my mom and I said, I need help. I said, can you bring some formula? We had tried to get some breast milk from someone so we could have fed that to him, but they didn't get back to us in time and stuff. So mom would have got the formula, and we put in the bottle, and he just went down and just ate so quick. And as stressed as I was, and as sad as I was about the situation, I was just glad that he had gotten something down him. I'm not a fan of formula. I don't like it. I like things natural as possible, and formula was definitely not, especially this formula. It was just from your normal grocery store, but at least it was some food down him, and so I had to be grateful for that. So I kind of was really distraught by the whole situation. I kind of felt like I fell, and I think I tried to nurse a couple more times the next couple of days, but I was just so exhausted and down that I probably really didn't do as much or try as much as I probably should have, and just started automatically pumping. It was still colostrum, my milk hadn't come in, and so it was hard to try to get anything out. So We did start trying to pump, and then by the 4th day my milk did come in, and we were able to start feeding that to him. So I'll really only use formula for like a couple feedings before we got the breast milk in, and just pumping. So I'm using the Bella Baby pump, and I will tag that below. Is that what it is? Put the link down for that below. And was using that and stuff, and I liked it and it worked, but it's hard when you have like a pump and you can't really move around. So that was also kind of I was distraught with, because I couldn't really move as much. It was hard to have to keep pumping and then have to feed him and try to make sure I had enough milk. And after I got my supply and kind of in a pattern, we were able to keep plenty of milk and stuff, so we didn't have to use any more formula, which was really, really nice. But it always just hit me really, really hard of why can I not breastfeed? It was almost like he came out and he just didn't want to eat, and I couldn't figure out why. But I like talked to, because also I needed to talk about, like, when we were struggling to try to get him to eat, I was in contact with my midwife. We were trying to go over different stuff, different things we could do, and none of that would work. And even when she kind of did one of her follow-up, we were talking about other different things we could do. And I tried them, like doing the football hold to feed him, and it just didn't work. But the bottle I was using, and the bottle I'd gotten before, is the Nano Baby. And so it's kind of like the shape like a breast. The nipples kind of not quite as much at the bottle, and then it's kind of hollow here, which helps to warm up them. I'll warm them up a lot easier. But it also, you can put it on your boob, which I'll explain that a little bit later. So kept breastfeeding him, or kept just pumping and feeding, and that's stressful in and of itself. Anyone who chooses, like, that is so cool, but for me it was very, very stressful, because I had to make sure there was enough milk, and then suddenly he's hungry and you have to hurry and go warm it up, and then he wants more than you have ready in the fridge or that you had in the bottle ready, and so then you have to warm up more, and it's stressful. And so it just seemed like that was my whole entire day. We also had a lot of doctor's appointments, and I'll talk about that probably in a different video. But for like his bilirubin, so it wasn't a big deal. But try to get up and ready and every morning and have him to pump and then feed him and then make sure I have more milk and all that stuff, which was super, super stressful for me. And definitely didn't enjoy it very much. So was doing all this, and I kept talking to Logan. I said, Logan, I really, like, this means so much, and he knew how much it meant that I do this. And he said, if you're not, like, it's okay, you will have other babies, you'll be able to do this, and it's okay that you can't do this. And he was very, very encouraging. But I told him, I said, I need to try this. I need to know, I need to really try to be able to breastfeed him, because one, this is super, super important to me. So this is always wanted to do. I know there's a lot of benefits to nursing than bottle feeding, even with breast milk. And I just knew if I didn't really try that, I would always regret that. So part of me, that kind of where I waited, is I needed to get in a good mindset. I was really down and distraught, which if you're in that place, it's hard to be able to get to a point. Your baby can kind of sense when you're stressed. But on top of that, with those different doctor's appointments and his bilirubin and different things, and then he was circumcised, and so I just wanted to wait until after his 2 weeks, making sure he was up to birth weight. That was important to me. And then after that, I was gonna try, because I talked to my midwife, and she said usually when new moms, when they're bottle fed, it's so hard to switch back to the breast. She said she had heard one mom that had done it and didn't let her, because it's usually either the mom wins or the baby wins, and usually everyone lets the baby win because it's just easier. But she had one mom, and she asked the mom how she did, and she says she sat without her shirt for 2 days and she won. And for one, that didn't settle with me right, is the mom or the baby winning, because that just sounds so harsh when you have a little newborn that doesn't really know a lot. And so I never pictured it on, am I gonna win or is little Caspian gonna win? I felt like it was a joint effort of, one, it would be better for him in the long run. He'd be able to get milk faster, he would be happier, there's a lot more benefits with that. And it'd be easier on me too, to be able to breastfeed instead of nursing and then bottle feeding. Or pumping and bottle feeding. Too many terms, and I'm always getting confused. So I always thought of it more as a team effort. And I thought about it with the birth process too, is it was both of us working together for him to get here. Pregnancy was like that, and that's how I thought about breastfeeding, is this is a team effort and it would be beneficial for both of us, and we need to be on the same term. I'm not gonna win, he's not gonna win. We need to work together to be able to get to this goal. And so that's how I always pictured it. So kind of what I started is just randomly try to put him on the nipple, trying to, but nothing really would stick or anything. And a few days after we got the 2 weeks, we got to birth weight, I would start before not even every meal, I was not doing very consistent, but randomly, whenever I'd feed him, instead of getting the bottle right away, I'd try to give him the boob and just seeing what he would do. So it was kind of a little bit slow transition. But then after that, a few days after, I decided I really want to do this, and so it was a lot of crying at first, but I was just trying to figure out different things, trying to get him to latch, and then what I started doing was using the bottle, and since you can put this like right on your breast, I would put it on, or put it near whatever, and then I would start feeding him, and then I take it away and then put him on the breast. And so I would start doing that a few different times until he finally started to actually like really latch on and eat. And so we did that for that feeding, the next feeding, and then by the third one, didn't even use the bottle, and he just went straight onto the nipple and started eating, which was awesome, and a lot easier than I thought, and I didn't feel like it was really stressful. And I kind of kept at the back of my mind of like, well, maybe this could still be stressful. So I still kind of kept bottles ready, or kept milk ready in the fridge. But after that, we never used a bottle again. He just ended up, it was still kind of slow and hard to latch on at first, but he got the hang of it to the point now it's like you put him on and he's like, I'm ready to eat, which was really, really cool and really like empowering, and I felt a lot better about it. And I just felt like, again, it was like a teamwork thing. It was both of us working together. I'm trying to get back on, and I didn't feel like it's stressful. Now, I don't know who every baby's gonna be, if that would work with everyone, but for us, it worked out really great. I am still pumping here and there. If I feel like he hasn't emptied my breast, and they're kind of hurting, I usually kind of in the morning and then at night, so before I go to bed and then when I wake up, because usually hasn't totally ate everything, I'll still pump, and that's because I want to keep my milk supply up. I was able to start producing a lot more than he needed before when I was pumping, and then again, we want to freeze dry it and have that as formula. So before we'd fully gotten him on, and I've been working, so I knew I needed a better pump than the other one I have. So this is still the Bella Baby, but it is the wearable one. So it comes in a 2-pack, and I think it's like 60 bucks. So I'll also put the link to that. And they have been awesome to stick it in my bra and then be able to wear them around. And they have been a lifesaver, not feeling like I'm stuck to a cord or stuck to anything. To be able to pump that way has been just such a big blessing. So if you really need a pump, they're great. I think even just to have on hand, it's always good. I'm grateful because I played with the idea of even getting a pump before, because I was like, well, I want to breastfeed, I don't plan on bottle feeding. And having that as like our backup was really nice, and not having to scramble for a pump or anything when it came down to it was really, really nice. So yeah, that's kind of our little story and how we were able to switch from bottle to breastfeeding. I hope I can help someone out, because I know it can be stressful, and I know as being a woman and a mom, that's kind of something that's really, really important. And you never know what's going to happen or why you might need a bottle feed. Well, it happens. You never know. Sometimes you're stuck in the NICU or the hospital for different reasons. Or maybe you were convinced into doing it and didn't realize, or whatever the reason being, there's still hope that you can get your baby onto the breast and be able to do that. Now, I've not used a bottle since. Now, sometime in the future, maybe that will be necessary, but right now, I don't want him to deny the boob again, and so we have just been doing straight nursing and no bottles, just for that sake. And I know some people can do both and stuff, but again, a lot of times the baby will deny the boob, and so I'm trying to avoid that altogether. So yeah, that's kind of our story and how I was able to switch back, which has been a miracle. And like, I say that, but honestly, I've cried so many times because it's something I've always wanted and has been very, very important to me. And I feel so blessed. I know God's hand is in it too. So I'm just so grateful to be able to feed little man. And honestly, like, breastfeeding at first was painful. A lot of that, I know it can be for people, but also, like, I had another wearable pump actually in between, and it was only one side, so I'd have to like swap, and it was really irritating my nipples. I think you're just pulling too hard, and so it was really, really sore at first, and it's still sore like right when he sucks on, but then we're fine. But it's been so worth it to be able to do that and just be able to feed him on demand. And then even when I'm in bed, I can just connect him, to start feeding him, and then I fall back asleep sometimes. But it's just nice because then I can be able to feed him a lot easier. And so it's just really, really nice and a big blessing. So yeah, there's my story, and hopefully some of this stuff can help. If you ever have any questions or just need to talk, go and message me over on Instagram or Brianna Jo Webster, or is it Brianna Jo W? I think it's Brianna Jo Webster. I'll have the link down below. And we can talk. I love to talk and just make friends and talk about different things. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share with a couple friends. It would definitely help to help me be able to grow. And push the bell notification so you don't miss any more videos. Hope you have a great day, great night. God bless.